Welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for staying with us. We continue with our deliberations right here in studio. I'm joined by Dr. Danson Mungatana, the Senator of Tana River County, and Joe Nyutu, who's a Senator of Murang'a County. Right before the break, claims were made that the opposition, united or disunited, depending on whichever side of the political divide you lean towards, is lacking a clear agenda, Nyutu. He says you don't have a policy, you don't have a plan. Sloganeering is your bread and butter, and it stops right there. Fact or fiction?
Thank you very much. People who support William Ruto, when they speak, sometimes they keep repeating what he says, just what he says. Hawana agenda, hawana plan, hata akili hawana. But we have really pushed him. He's not saying that hawana akili, because personally I've challenged him everywhere I've appeared on media houses to tell us whether he thinks that God is limited, that God only had a few brains in his store, and William Ruto found the last stock of brains in God's store of brains, so that the rest of us, by the time we came, because God is limited, then William Ruto had taken all the brains that had been left in the stores. So when you have challenged him about this, he has stopped saying that we have no brains. But sitting here, I heard Senator Mungatana saying nothing other than what President Ruto says when he speaks. We don't have an agenda. We talk about our agenda every day, but they choose not to listen. Senator Mungatana will not listen because his boss, William Ruto, says that we have no agenda. We have been talking and saying that when we get, and not if, when we get government, that we are going to restore the dignity of the payslip. That is something that we say in every meeting that we go to. But Senator Mungatana will not hear that, because he cannot hear it until William Ruto hears it and tells him now to say it. We have always said that we are going to have a policy on food security. That the only thing that President Ruto has brought, and which now Senator Mungatana would tell you, is that they have brought down the price of fertilizer from 7,500 to about, I don't know, they say 3,000 or 2,500. Come on, fertilizer will not work if the rains fail. So we would want a serious government to tell us what it has done towards, seeing to it that we have food security. How many dams have been constructed? We are saying when, and again, I want to say again, not if. It is when we take government, we are going to invest in food security. We are going to construct dams in places that are arable but lack water. We are going to irrigate Ukambani. We are going to irrigate the northern Kenya, because those lands are arable and it rains sometimes. So we are going to harvest rainwater to reduce the reliance on rain-fed agriculture. That is an agenda that we talk about every day. We have said that we will generate more than enough energy or power so that we can be able to bring the cost of production down, so that again, or further, we can be able to attract more local and foreign investors. We have talked about that many times. We have said that when it comes to education, we will see to it and make sure that capitation is disbursed to schools in time and in the ratios that have been recommended. 50% in first term, 30% in second term, 20% in third term. We have said that because schools are actually collapsing under the weight of debt, because this government does not disburse capitation to schools. And we are going to reinstate it, first of all, to 22,000, where Uhuru Kenyatta left it for secondary school. This government has reduced it to 16,000, and no less than the former PS. I was the chair of the Education Committee in the Senate. The former PS, Bello Gibson, said that they have reduced it from 22,000 to 16,000. I mean, that cannot be a serious government. We have had inflation. We should actually have raised it now to about 35,000. We have said we are going to do that. We have said that we are going to see to it that Kenyans get a full medical cover, that we will not have a SHA or a medical cover that, covers up to a particular extent, that every Kenyan who is a contributor and those that are indigent, the government will pay for them the contributions. Right. We have had a lot agenda, but nobody who supports William Ruto will say it until William Ruto says it. So I didn't expect Senator Mungatana, by the way, to say that we have any agenda, because he came here equipped, not with anything else other than what he hears President Ruto says. And that is why for him, we should not even investigate the chopper crash that killed Johana Ng'eno, because William Ruto has not said so. So Senator Mungatana will not say so, and anybody who says so to Senator Mungatana is actually somebody who is, heartless, somebody who does not, empathize with the family of the late Ng'eno. We need to be serious that when legislators speak, they are speaking their minds, that they are not waiting for William Ruto to say something, so that now they say that everywhere they go and not add anything else. How can you say we have no agenda while we talk about our agenda every day? But because people have chosen not to listen, then finally, I want to say that you cannot say that the opposition, what has it done? We cannot have done anything because we do not have the resources. It is the government of the day that has the mandate to expend the resources of Kenyans. If we want to see what we can do, can they surrender the resources of the country to us for 1 year, and we will be able to show them and Kenyans at large, and even actually the world, what we can do for Kenyans. This country, Senator Mungatana, when we take over government next year, not if, again, will be a different country. The sloganeering is with the government. I don't know, Singapore.
So you take us to Singapore.
That is what we call sloganeering. For us, we are talking about tangible things that we are going to do.
Can I say this?
Briefly, yes.
Hearing my colleague here saying that we will do this and this to SHA. That's not a new policy. There's no policy proposal. What they are doing is copy-pasting. Let's hear what they have. When they say, education, capitation, they are not bringing anything new. And this is what I'm saying. Don't you have thinkers within your policy? We used to have something called think tanks within the political setups, like what we do. And these people sit and think and plan. That's what we have in UDA. And nobody sees them, nobody, but they sit, I tell you, every week to plan and to know where this country is going. These other people, when they tell you they are talking policy, just play one of their clips here. You will see, one tap, Nimuisi, that's all they talk about. A lot of spewing of stuff that cannot help this country. And I'm saying this, and I'm appealing to my colleague here and the gentleman in opposition, because we are all the same, by the way. We are not different. We just sit in different sides of the aisle. That we owe it to this country, that God has given us positions of leadership. You owe it to be responsible enough to say, if this is not working, this is what I propose. But you can't copy-paste my exam. I've written my paper, finished, and you are just, checking, and then you say, I'm going to improve this. And then you say that's a policy. I am just listening and I'm thinking, but what I like about democracy is that in a few days, in a few months, we will face the people. One side, we have a clear agenda, we have a clear plan. We have said where we want to take our people, and even things Mheshimiwa has not talked about, like the gold mine that exists in blue economy, which has changed a lot of people in the coast. mining sector, which was never funded as it should, and what it is bringing, the capacity of it developing.
All right.
What we are doing in these areas, we are thinking about how to take this country forward. And I'm telling you, there's somebody called Wanjiku. He's listening to all of us, and he will pass the judgments. Sisi tutakuja, tutaeleza, this is what we've done and this is what we want to do. Wao watakuja waseme one term, alafu tujue what the people will say. But I am telling them, if they don't organize this disunited, agendaless opposition, you can come here and say, oh, people are just following Ruto and what and what. I'm telling you, so long as you have nothing to offer to the people, all you are trying to do is to run emotions, I promise you a thorough beating in the next general election. And you will come to see what we mean. This country, Wanjiku is not a fool.
Okay.
They can see who makes sense, who doesn't make sense.
And they'll have the final say.
They'll have the final say.
Okay, gentlemen, there's a March 7th deadline that is looming. I'd like your take on this 10-point MOU that was signed last year between UDA and ODM. We've seen a committee collecting memoranda all over the country, but 5 days to that deadline, what do you make of progress, Nyotu? Has there been any tangible progress in terms of implementing what was put to paper and signed by these two leaders?
Jesse, allow me to tell Senator Mugatana that we are not copy-pasting anything from the government of William Ruto, and in fact, I don't think there is anything that we can be envious about in the policies of William Ruto, because William Ruto's policy and his legacy will be about killing innocent people for expressing their dissatisfaction with this, with this dictatorship. I don't know what Senator Mugatana would want to say about that, but I don't know what we have copy-pasted in our agenda of, production of energy, even exploring options of, going to nuclear energy. I don't know what we are copy-pasting there. I don't know what we are copy-pasting with about, construction of dams, because we need to talk issues also. The other thing that he says that we go saying, mwizi, muuaji, yes, we will not just give our agenda, but we'll also say things that have been done in the wrong way. And it is perfectly within our right. And I want to also say that Senator Mugatana seems so concerned that, we don't have advisors. He seems so concerned to tell us to even, be organized, Jesse, why would the devil want to advise, somebody who wants to join heaven on how to join heaven? The devil should be happy to see people joining him in hell. Why would Senator Mugatana be so concerned and want us to run opposition in a good way while he does not belong to it? Why? Somebody says, there's somebody that I know who says that if you get born again and you find the devil clapping for you, then you should be very, very careful whether you have gone to heaven or hell. Anyway, now you ask about the 10-point agenda and the March 7th deadline.
Yes.
You need to listen to what the Secretary General of ODM, Edwin Sifuna, says. There is only one Secretary General legally. Because the courts were able to, to quash, the position that was, given in Mombasa in that meeting that was called and financed by William Ruto, although it was an ODM meeting. So you just need to listen to Edwin Sifuna, who is the custodian, by the way, of that particular document and other documents, as in his capacity as the Secretary General of ODM, and the many things that they agreed on. IBC, all those, I don't want to go to them one by one because, of course, we are. But let us wait for an audit. There'll be an audit, and we'll be told what has been implemented, because the ODM wing leans towards William Ruto does not want to talk about the 10-point agenda. It does not want to talk about the 10-point agenda. You have not heard them talking about the 10-point agenda because, of course, the agenda has been 2027, cooperation between ODM and UDA. Nobody will talk about the 10-point agenda. Okay. If you want to hear about the 10-point agenda and where the progress that has been made, then listen to Edwin Sifuna, the Secretary General of the party, to people like Babu Owino, people like James Orengo, and then therein lies the answer. Let us wait for the audit. I don't want to talk too much about it because I'm not a member of ODM, and I'm not, on paper I'm a member of UDA, but Jesse, you are a young man, but I've seen older men who still live with their wives in the same house. But of course, inside the house, each one of them has a room, a separate room. They don't even communicate. But from out there, you will think that they are still husband and wife. Okay. So I'm still in UDA, but I don't even know what happens in UDA. So probably Senator Mungatana, because he's still a very active member of UDA, can give a good analysis of what they have done. They are part of the bargain. How far they have gone in meeting it.
Let's give him a chance here.
Yes, I am a very active member of UDA. In fact, recently I was part of the high-level delegation that went to Beijing so that we can compare what other political parties are doing and what we can import, because politics is the engine for good governance and engine, therefore, for development. Looking at what the Honorable Raila Odinga, the late, and what William Ruto signed in that 10-point agenda, you remember that Agnes Zani, a former senator, was asked to chair that committee. And just 3 days ago, they were in Tana River to collect views from the public. And I saw her on television. She said that she was going to finish with the collection of views, and then they are going to give a report. Now, ordinarily, when you are doing parliamentary duties, whenever you see, like I'm a deputy chairman in the Delegated Legislation Committee of the Senate. So what happens is, when you see the time that the Senate has given you is not enough, you come back with a motion and ask for extension of time. I served as chair of the ad hoc committee in the Shakahola killings. When you see your time is not enough, you come and ask for extension. So asking for extension is a normal thing if your report is not done. So what I heard Honorable Zani say is that we are in the final processes, and once we finish with the collection of views, and they were in Hola, in Tana River County, we shall then go into report writing and submit it to the parties that sent us, that is ODM and UDA. So even before that report has come, I remember part of the 10-point agenda, one of them was to review the finance bill of 2023, it was, that caused some problems, which was done even before the report has been revealed. Now, part of the issues was to reconstruct the IEBC Commission. So this independent body for election has been done. The commissioners are in place, and the secretariat is functioning. This is before the report is out. So Kenyans can see that even before the report is out, in terms of implementation, some of the things that were agreed on before the Honorable Raila passed away are already out there, and they have been done. There was a point on the cost of living, interventions to reduce the cost of living that was high at that time. Yes, these things have been done. The cost of food has gone down. Why? Because production has been increased. The petrol control of those pricing, it was. We were even queuing at the time that we were taking government. So freedom of speech to express yourselves this has been done. We have challenges here and there, but we are on the road. So if you give me time to recall all of them, I can tell you even before the report of Chairman Zani, Chair Zani, has been released, we have made progress. And you see, the good thing is we don't need anybody to tell us. Kenyans can see that President William Ruto is committed to the 10-point agenda. There's progress that has been made within the reality of our circumstances. Cost of living has been attended to. IEBC has been attended to. Things have started working, even before the report has been done. So I can tell Kenyans with confidence, even as I'm sitting here, that what was discussed,
including other areas. So perhaps a foresight of what to come in terms of politics, and how you guys are playing it. Newt, I'll start with you.
Jesse, I think it's important to remind Kenyans that if somebody is not a threat to you, why would you keep talking about them? You just need to listen anywhere President Ruto goes for any function. Over half of his speech is about the opposition that Senator Mungatana chooses to call disunited. I don't know how unity is defined in Senator Mungatana's terms, but I can tell you, Jesse, that President Ruto has a nightmare, and that's why he's fighting the way he is and castigating us all the time, because it is evident that Kenyans are fed up with him. His only agenda was, isolating Mount Kenya to show the rest of Kenya that all the noise is coming from Mount Kenya, according to that narrative, because Mount Kenya does not want others to develop. But I challenged somebody yesterday. I asked them to tell me where in Mount Kenya Senator Sifuna comes from, where in Mount Kenya James Orengo comes from, where in Mount Kenya Fred Matiang'i comes from, where in Mount Kenya Kalonzo Musyoka comes from, where in Mount Kenya George Natembeya comes from, where in Mount Kenya Eugene Wamalwa comes from, where in Mount Kenya Mohamed Jipcho Pevu comes from. And so let that government and those who support government be truthful and tell us. If we had time, I would have wanted Senator Mungatana to just analyze Kenya, because you have a map of it, and tell us where President Ruto is going to get 50% of the vote plus one. And so we are not disunited as opposition, and we are going to stick together. I know Ruto would want us to get disunited so that he can take advantage. But I want to tell him, and Senator Mungatana here, my colleague and friend, sorry, we are going to remain united to the end of
Mungatana, thank you. Briefly.
Our beautiful country, respected across Africa, I've just told you I've come from an international meeting, is highly regarded. Our president is highly regarded in the continent of Africa and outside Africa. But when you are staying with your brother can just think, he's my big brother, but your neighbor can be a better judge of who you are than your own people. So sometimes we need to see how our country is. And the truth is, we have great potential. I look forward to a beautiful contest where the disunited opposition will come to the reality that the noise they make will not give them the seat they want. We will thrash them thoroughly because they are disorganized, agendaless, disunited. They don't know forward, they don't know backward. They think that being clapped for at the market center for crowds they never hire, they never mobilized is winning the elections. I am telling you, and I'm saying as a politician who has been around this space for some time, that this country needs an agenda that will take us forward. This country needs stability, it needs economic planning, like what we are doing now. The other guys, they don't have any plan whatsoever. It is just Manenos too. Thank you very much.
And the last thing this country needs, Jesse, is killing of young people. That is the last thing this country
Just
needs.
emotions,
Okay, gentlemen,
yes.
Without any
let's
proof.
finalize at
Yes.
that particular point. Our time is up. We'll be looking forward to more fruitful discussions, sober discussions as we've had today. Dr. Danson Mungatana, Senator Tana River, asante sana for your time.
Thank you.
Joe Nyutu, we appreciate your input and your presence right here, the Senator of Murang'a County. And that's how we wrap up tonight's edition of KTN Prime. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you're adequately informed. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. I'm Jesse Rogers. Good evening.